Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my God. So I'm like a total 1 minute late. When does that happen? My apologies. Yeah, so Mrs. Calishone needed me for, hey, good morning, Ian, needed me for a couple of tests this morning. She was on the phone with one of our utility providers, and yeah, we need to speak to the man of the house too, right? Like you needed, because it was under my name, so they needed me on the phone. So as I was doing something, well, here I am, right? So good morning. Hey, Frida. Frida, I saw that I have an email from you. I haven't looked at it yet. I will look at it right after this call. All right, I'm like a little frazzled because okay, here we are. So let's go over some updates. Let's see, do we have updates? Do we have updates? I think we do. I mean, we have more new, oh, so here's something, right? So yesterday, I took the opportunity to really clean up some stuff. So I went through our entire database of listings, and what I found was that I want to try to be polite about this, right? When you're enrolling or registering to be listed on a search engine, one of the things that I just don't have a way around is you need a website, right? And it could be any website. It could be your Facebook. It could be your LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be, well, I own this business and I made a fancy schmancy business website. Because again, Rhino Street is you are representing yourself, right? Whether you work at Burger King or whether you own a Burger King, you are representing yourself. You are your own small business. Every individual owns their own labor. It's a matter of whether you want to sell your labor to an employer or whether you want to use your labor to go ahead and build your own business or your own brand. But the common denominator is your labor. You own you. That being said, anyone can list. So I'm Anthony, I work at Burger King. Well, maybe people in my community like me so much that they say, okay, I want a burger. Let me go search for a good burger in town. Oh, Anthony works at Burger King. I like Anthony. Let me go check out what he's doing over there. Let me say hello. Let me bump into him. Maybe I have a crush on him. Maybe he owes me money. Maybe I want to bet a game with him. Maybe I want to tell him a joke. I don't know. But I start going to that Burger King just to see Anthony. Well, maybe Anthony's a really popular person. A lot of people like him. So everyone's going to this Burger King just to see Anthony. Well, now Anthony has the opportunity to say, wow, I have such a following for burgers. I could kind of probably open up my own burger shop. And I bet you I could get funding because I have such a following that anyone within town, our community bank, or even, the wealthy retired individual down the block that knows who I am, would want to go partners with me, maybe 50-50. He puts up the money and I go ahead and do all the management. Therefore, me working at Burger King, because Rhino Streets empowered me to list myself, has allowed me to now go ahead and build a burger franchise, right? Or maybe just a small business. But the point being, it was me all along. It's not Burger King, it's me. People come to see me, right? So in doing so, anyone could list anything. You could list your LinkedIn or your Facebook or whatnot. So when people register for Rhino Street and they put NA for website, it's impossible for me to do anything with that because it's a search engine, right? So when somebody goes on it and types in something, they have to come up with a URL. If it doesn't have a website, it doesn't come up. It's the internet. So I cleaned up and deleted a lot of those. Then, and also because it was our fault in the beginning. When Rhino Street first launched, we did not have well, actually, if you remember when it really first launched, it was distributivemarketing.com, where we built our prototype of our search engine using the businesses that wanted to list. And I think we had like 60 back then. That was like the original businesses. Well, we had never taken down each business's zip code because it wasn't, that original search engine had nothing to do with location. Location wasn't a thing. It was, if you're on distributed marketing, this is how you can be found. This is how you could be listed. Well, when we went ahead and finally built Rhino Street, we then needed zip codes. Because we didn't have those zip codes, those listings did not list properly. For the individuals that own those original businesses, when they listed on Rhino Street, they did not be able to find themselves because they didn't have a zip code. So what I did was I took the time, went through every single one of those businesses. I went through your websites. I pulled your phone number so I could see the area code, what zip code it's from, and I assigned zip codes to all of them. So that was a lot of work, but there are originals, and Rhino will take care of anyone, but especially the people that were like literally day one. Everyone that knows, I've been with Rhino Street since the beginning. Have you been with distributive marketing? Have you been with Hipsuasion? I mean, those are those amazing, amazing programs that brought us all together. So I adjusted those, and then you have many. You have like the. I gotta tell you, no matter what you do in life, there are those bad actors. They just exist no matter where you go. So as I'm going through, and I clicked every website. You have websites that are like, this is dangerous, don't click, we're gonna steal your data. Like they didn't even, like it wasn't even secretive, like we're gonna steal your data. Um, Sent an email on 1-3, no response. Oh, Carl, okay. Was it to me or to V? Either way, oh, to you. Oh, even worse. All right, I will check. It's 1-6. Okay, I promise I'll look for it immediately after this call. Yeah, so we had to go ahead and delete those listings because, of course, we don't want anyone on the search engine to feel that they could click something and something bad might happen. And then there are those businesses that have like a really, really long description, which we cut down because, again, the evolution of the search engine was at first you just build it, and you take a look at it and realize, well, one business having 700 words and one business having 2 words makes for a very clunky, cluttered looking search engine. So I went ahead and, edited some descriptions with the help of our AI. And I gotta tell you, our AI on Rhino Street, everything I do now, I'm like, please rewrite. And it baffles me, astounds me, and also kind of frustrates me that everything I write can be written better by our AI. It's ridiculous. I'll send a message to my wife, and before I do it, I go, please rewrite this. And it writes it to be perfect. I do it with our team. And it's funny because I'll always be live, right? Like you'll always see me, you always hear my voice. So there'll never be, oh man, remember when Anthony used to, speak from the heart? No, that's always there. But you'll notice more, especially those that have been with us from the beginning, some emails, some whatever. It's like, that sounds very professional, Anthony. I can't imagine that was you. So that's that. Rhino hit another all-time high today, 234.71, or I don't know, something like that. And we just actually funded the Rhino account that coin's going to have like super duper duper support behind it. Like there's a lot of money behind it right now. Also, what you'll find in the email today is I kind of changed it a little bit. It's funny because when we went ahead and created Rhino Bucks, it wasn't that we wanted to have the coolest crypto. Like crypto is a word that I don't even like talking about. It just feels scammy, right? Like crypto, I stay away from those people. So what we did was we decided to make it so easy. And this is not a derogatory comment, right? Like it's just to make the point across. So easy, a soccer mom could use it, right? And the point being, and this soccer moms are like the most valuable person in the world, right? So let's get that straight. That's the mother that takes care of the whole family. And regardless of getting no sleep, no nothing, she's there on the soccer field with her son or daughter at 7 a.m., taking to practice every week. So my mother was a soccer mom. But the point being that individual, you don't believe has so much extra time that they can learn such a complicated industry like crypto. This individual is making breakfast, lunch, dinner, schoolwork, homework, soccer, this, bath time, bedtime. There's a lot. So I don't find, my wife, we have 2 children under 16 months. Our son's 16 months and our daughter's about to be 2 months. When you ask my wife, what is it you want? She says the same thing every time, a nap. And it's funny because only when you get to, having a family, do you see how superhuman your wife is, if you're lucky, like I am. And I don't think she sleeps. And so there are times that I'm just like, okay, I'll stay home and you'll see me working from either the kitchen or wherever, and just so she could sleep during the day. But the point being, in her free time, I don't think she would, push aside the nap and say, I'm just going to learn crypto and blockchain. And if I take PancakeSwap and I send it to here and I copy and paste this wallet address and I update my contract address and I upload it here and then I export this, I'll be able to swap it and make a profit in an industry that's just ripe with scam, right? I just don't think that's the case. But I also think it's equally true that soccer moms, or anyone, right? We're just using soccer mom as an example, knows what crypto is. I think they've heard of Bitcoin before. I think they have children that are, are in the industry. I think when things are going up, they have a little bit of FOMO, like they're excited. Um, so what's the disconnect? I think if you asked any individual 100 years from now, are there going to be dollar bills anymore? They would say no, everything's going to be digital money. So I do think there's a story behind it, right? I do think a logical, reasonable person says, I would like to get into that field. I'd like to learn a little bit about it, but they don't have the time to. So how do you solve that, right? Like, how can you solve somebody who has a regular life and does not have time to learn an industry that's ripe with scam all over the place, that's incredibly complicated, but also does acknowledge and does see the value in participating in that industry or investing in it or whatnot. And that's what we decided, that's what Rhino Bucks is. That is what we tried to solve, right? That's what we tried to connect. And the way we did it is we spent so much time building out automations. So for instance, we've partnered with Stripe on the front end to allow subscription service, which to us made sense because like your 401k or anything else, it's a monthly, or a weekly or whatever time interval it is, but just a little bit, and it allows you to live quite comfortably, right? I make $100. I contribute $1 every single week. So how much does my life change if I go from making $100 to taking home $99? But if I do that every week for the next 10 years, well, 52 times 10, that's $520 that I would have put into it. And if that thing doubled or tripled or quadrupled or 10x'd, well, that was a good investment, right? So we wanted to build that. So we were able to do it. You sign up through our custom coded front end that's built on the developer base of Stripe. Your subscription is through them, your account, all your payments. It's not like Rhino goes ahead and does, send us a check. It goes through the number one financial tech company processor in the entire world. They're worth like $100 billion. Once you're there, the money goes from your account to Rhino's account. And then the next step was we created bots that allow us to then identify, well, Susie's money's in Rhino. Susie's buying $25 a week of Rhino. Susie's $25 transaction just happened. So the bot knows to take Susie's $25, bring it over to PancakeSwap, which is a publicly listed exchange. And Susie's $25 gets converted into buying $25 worth of Rhino. Now another bot then says, okay, that Rhino is Susie's. So it takes Susie's $25 worth of Rhino and deposits into Susie's wallet address. This is all done for her. What Susie has to do in the beginning is enroll, which is as simple as Susie@AOL.com and Susie Q exclamation point as a password. In which case, then you're brought into the main screen and then you just select a plan. Easy peasy. The more difficult part is getting a wallet address, which we really, really tried to make simple, right? And I'm thinking of the word for it because I do get a lot of people talk to me, Anthony, I just can't figure it out. So it's not like a bad word to use for it. Like a lot of times people say, oh, these people are so silly, they don't know how to follow directions. No, because we have a large enough sample size. It's complicated. In fact, I look at myself and I didn't know anything about crypto till this. I still don't know anything about it. We're just using crypto because it allows us the platform to do what we want to do. So we're all learning together. But we then put together a wallet tutorial. If you want this wallet, beep, beep, beep. If you want this wallet, beep, beep, beep. And we have a head of concierge that has walked everyone through it the entire time. Once someone achieves these two milestones, one, signing up, and secondly, having a wallet address, you're done. You don't need to do anything ever again. Everything is done for you going forward. So that $1 a week just keeps happening. That $5 a week just keeps happening. And the point of my long explanation is the change in the email. You'll see that it doesn't say Rhino Investor anymore. It says Rhino Sponsors. And the point being, i.e., the process that we put out to be so simplified, to be so friendly, to be so, okay, this is the beginner level. This is the easy stuff. The rest is a whole bunch of wild people going crazy, but this is, the JP Morgan. This is the Apple. This is where you can feel comfortable and everything's okay. Well, using language like crypto investors does not share that sentiment. It just doesn't, right? So what I wanted to change it was to sponsors, because that really is at the core. Rhino Street is the bread and butter. Rhino Street is the crown jewel. It's funded by Rhino Bucks, and of course we have a supply of Rhino Bucks, and that's how everything is funded. So it's kind of like crowdsourcing a small business renaissance, to kind of put it lightly, if that could be considered light, right? But in doing so, so you're sponsoring that change, but in doing so, you have a piece of the company, right? You have representation. Instead of a sponsorship like, okay, I'm sponsoring Kids Cure for, polio or whatnot, and I'm going to a dinner where it's $100 a plate. Well, what do you get for that $100? Well, you get a plate of food. Now the plate of food is gone because you ate it. But you got something. You had some representation in the event. That was the event. Well, what about Rhino? You have some representation in what we end up building. That's called Rhino Bucks. So is it true that you're sponsoring what we're building? I think the answer is yes. Is it true that the soccer mom, right, or any normal individual is much more comfortable sponsoring and being a part of something with such a resonating message and mission statement and value proposition than that same individual being asked, do they want to invest in a crypto? I think the answer is yes. So I think we've been kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by not recognizing the messaging is quite important. And it was funny because I was working last night. It was around 11:30 at night, and I yelled. And of course, I had my headphones in, and it's really loud music. And my wife was, she was still working. She's with our daughter, and our daughter keeps her up so that she can work. And she's also a full-time student, right? To be an NP, nurse practitioner, like where she could write prescription. So it's really quite impressive what she's doing. But I yelled and she's like, oh my God, no, please don't yell. Please don't wake up any of the kids. And I'm like, sponsor. She's like, please stop. But that's, I got to tell you, it's this idea. I've been spending good ideas. You can't, it's like a good wife or a good husband. You can't search for them. They just find you. It just so happens. And it's kind of like the meet cute. Well, that's what this was. It was just, I was working and sponsor came to mind. So if you ever needed an argument for a divine individual, I don't know where the idea came from, but it just came in my head. So I'm not rambling. I'm sharing good stuff, but I just want to give you a little bit of color to why the language has changed and why the messaging is going to change going forward a little bit more. So I'm going to take a look at the chat because I see something about a +1. So I know that it's important. Greetings from Palm Bay, Florida. Oh, Deborah, you're not in Oh, you just moved. Super cool. Sent an email. Okay, I'm going to get to it. Are you able to include the cost of purchasing Rhino Bucks in the receipt, i.e. $10 less cost, numbers of bucks bought? Well, for dummies, no offense, I struggled with it myself. Well, okay, so yes, I'm getting together so every week, Monday and Friday, 12 o'clock, I have team meetings, and we're all on the Zoom together, and everyone has their goals of what they're supposed to have accomplished, and we talk about it. From the tech side, there's been a lot of goals. As you can imagine, tech is a really important part about what we do. In doing so, because the bot is transacting at an exact time, at an exact price, we can actually produce a transaction log. So we have access to it. I have the transaction log. What I said to our head of app development, Steve, was it's so important for everyone that they have access to that transaction log. This is something that I've really enjoyed the luxury. People have offered me and extended the courtesy not to beat me up over this. But just because someone's not saying it doesn't mean I don't hear it, right? Everyone needs a transaction log. And of course it could be done manually, right? Like you can go back and say, okay, I bought this at this price, there's the chart, divide it out. So it's not that no one's ever had the ability to do so, because I know how important that is coming from a finance background, but to go ahead and expect everyone to then go ahead and do that much work on their behalf of something that you should be doing is a bit, it doesn't sit well with me. So I know we have to do it. And that's also what it looks like to be part of a startup, right? In any normal world, this would be a private business. You would never know any of this stuff. We would still be building. But what we want to do is do it out front, in front of everyone, and allow everyone to participate. And the good and bad of it is, the bad is sometimes it's frustrating that you don't have things done when you want them done. But the good of it is you're also investing or sponsoring at a price point that is well below what it will be when everything's perfect. And that's how people make all the millions in the world, right? They're the original Uber investors. You think those people own stock anymore? They don't. They got in at like a penny, sold it at like $40, and they moved on. So that's what we've always wanted to do for you, and that's what we are doing. That being said, that is one of the deliverables for today. I see that he's actually messaging me, so I'll take a look and see which deliverables are going to hit. But that is one of the deliverables for this week. And if it doesn't happen this week, I want to say it'll definitely happen by next week, because I can't imagine our tech team being more than a week behind with stuff like this. Yeah, thank you, Robbie. It really could be. So let me get going. I'm 12 minutes over, but I did want to actually touch on that. You see how stuffy I sound? I swear, everyone in my house is sick. One kid gets it, the other kid gets it, the wife gets it, and my Rhino blood, I find, is not immune to 3 people breathing on me all day, and they're sick. But I'll always work. So I guess that's it. But the transaction log is coming. What I want is, on your dashboard, there'll be a button for transaction log, and there'll be a button for get wallet. So after the new person enrolls in Rhino, they'll get to the dashboard and they'll say, okay, I need to put my wallet address. I don't know what a wallet is. Okay, get wallet, right? And then you have the steps. Or they go, I want my transaction log, get transaction log, and it sends to them. All right, cool. Love everyone. Resending my email so it's easy to find. Carl, you're the best. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best. That's what I do to my son in the morning. But anyway, okay, love everyone. Let me get going. Happy Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.